On the eve of 2000 New Year, best friends Eli and Danny attend a party that is set to change their lives. Chubby Danny is going to prove to everyone that he is not some loser, but a potential soul of the company, and Eli wants to try to get together with the girl of his dreams, smart and beautiful Laura, who recently broke up with her boyfriend. This evening will indeed be fate-changing for the friends, but not at all as they thought. After the midnight, all the machines get out of control, revolt, and start killing people. There is an opinion that 1999 was the best year in the history of modern cinema. This year saw the emergence of a particularly large number of truly worthy, even epical films, many of which have firmly entered the global mass cultural code. Whether this is somehow connected with the public's fears about the coming millennium, it is not known, but in the following years such a surge of creative talent in Hollywood has not been observed. It makes sense that many 40-year-olds now look back on this time with great nostalgia. And obviously, such people include Jonah Hill, a well-known actor who made a name for himself with a number of vivid roles in comedies and is now actively involved in producing. He's producing far more than just comedies. Among other things, he had a hand in Clint Eastwood's Richard Jewell and the TV series Maniac, and he wrote and directed the indie hit Mid-90s, in which he incorporated much of his own childhood. Obviously, there is something close to Hill in Y2K too. In the time when the movie takes place, he himself was 17 years old, as well as his characters. The film echoes other projects in his filmography. The most obvious sources of inspiration for the screenwriters are Superbad, from which comes the concept of two friends at the party of their lives, and This Is the End, where the noisy party was interrupted by a bloody demonic apocalypse. If you look closely, in Y2K you can see traces of Kevin Smith's movies and cult youth comedies of those years, for example, Can Hardly Wait, and it would seem that nothing could go wrong here. In fact, absolutely everything could go wrong. The main problem with Y2K lies in the chaotic, understated script, which keeps the audience as idiots and constantly diverts from the central story to anything its writers find interesting. This is partly the fault of director Kyle Mooney, a fairly well-known and honored comedian, but a debutante director who obviously hasn't seen the movie as a whole and wasn't quite sure what tone and mood he wanted to achieve. On the one hand, it's a nostalgic drug comedy or even spoof. On the other hand, it's a bloody horror in which one of the heroines gets her head drilled, and the other character gets several CDs stuck in his face. Even experienced directors not always able to cross such different genres in an organized way, and in Mooney's case they slip through his fingers like sand. Apparently, Mooney and his producers decided that even the most rattling mixture would go well with an armor-piercing dose of nostalgia, but it doesn't always work, and when Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit appears as his 25-year-old self, it starts a carnival of cringe. It's not that funny, it's not particularly elegant, it's very derivative, and it's not scary at all. The writers made sure of that by making the machine uprising as naive and silly as possible. And despite the fact that at times in the plot slip notes of something real, sincere, attempts to somehow parallel, to reflect the fears and concerns of the young generation about the future and entry into adulthood, they here seem more of an accident than a conscious goal of the authors. Most of all, Y2K reminds us of the famous meme in which a cyclist on the move sticks a rod into his wheels, which is exactly what the authors of the movie are doing. For the distributor A24, known for its masterful choice of projects for distribution, this is the first creative blunder of this level, but, on the other hand, only those who do nothing are not mistaken.